Okay, 7 Australian Opens, 15 slams.
Not too bad.
Not too bad.
Novak Djokovic is not your average tennis player. The Serb is literally a king of tennis, winning possibly every title one could win in the sport. He burst onto the scene when everyone's attention was on fellow greats Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. But Djokovic was a man with ambition, fueled by his goal to be the best. This drive has seen him attain so much success in tennis, and to do that, he had to first disrupt the reign of Nadal and Federer, which he did. The fact that he was able to do this feat in a shorter time has made him very well respected in the tennis community. Throughout his playing career, Novak was subject to many issues both on and off the court. Spouts with fans, umpires, and even event organizers have made Novak somewhat of a protagonist in tennis, which begs the question, what really happened to Novak Djokovic?
So I'm the only player that shows his frustration on the court, right? That's what you want to say. I'm the only player that is showing that.
Djokovic's arrival interrupted the romance between tennis fans and the two other greats, Nadal and Federer. Everyone adored the two because of their charm, attitude, and smile. Enter the big bad wolf Novak Djokovic with his all-serious demeanor and straight-to-the-point attitude. Djokovic crashed the party by ending the streak of 11 consecutive Grand Slam titles won by either Nadal or Federer when he won the 2008 Australian Open after eliminating Roger in the semifinal. At the climax of the 2016 tennis season, it was obvious Novak Djokovic had a slight issue with his elbow. It was noticeable to everyone except Djokovic. So at that moment, the Serb wasn't playing all too well, suffering defeats in major competitions. The hot-headed Serb decided to blame his support as he cleaned his whole backroom staff. This cleanup started by firstly firing his coach, Boris Becker, at the end of the 2016 season. Then came another coach, Marian Vajda, who he also fired barely midway into the 2017 season. His fitness therapist and physiotherapist also felt the brute swing of Novak after he fired them in one swoop. He eventually had to go for elbow surgery, ending his season in early July. His refusal to accept the blame didn't go quite well with the fans.
It wasn't an easy thing to digest for me as an athlete to be away from the tour for 6 months.
Another instance that perfectly illustrated how Novak was perceived as the villain was when he faced up against Federer in the 2019 Wimbledon final. A match that has gone down as the longest match in Wimbledon history, lasting 4 hours and 57 minutes. Novak defeated Federer in a 5-set tiebreaker, but the trophy presentation was the standout moment. There was a muted reaction to the moment when Novak lifted his trophy in the arena.
Having match points, not just for any old match, but for a championship.
Compared to the resounding applause Federer got when leaving the court.
Champions for Wimbledon 2019.
No matter how many times Novak ends up victorious against Roger or Nadal, it is clear the heart of the fans rests with the two other greats. Novak has been accused of many things during his playing career. The most common is his tendency to fake injuries. Whether it is true or not, only Novak knows for sure. Most rival fans have always accused the Serb of faking injuries whenever he is losing, but we can say that this is not the case. He didn't become famous in tennis simply because he was terrified of losing. In the 2019 US Open, Djokovic was booed off the court by spectators after retiring in the round of 16 against Stan Wawrinka. It was obvious Novak was playing with a shoulder injury due to his poor and weak serves, yet his retirement did not sit well with the fans. The highlight of this injury dilemma has reached its peak in the 2023 Australian Open, with fellow players also taking a dig at the Serb for faking his injuries. After getting demolished by Novak at the 2023 Australian Open, Aussie tennis star Alex de Minaur made some cryptic statements in his post-match interview. The Australian in his interview said, "I think everyone's kind of seen what's been happening over the couple of weeks. It's the only thing everyone's been talking about." Clearly, he was referring to the news about Djokovic faking his injuries. The match started with total and complete domination by Novak Djokovic, giving no room for the home fans to cheer for their home player. Besides, there is no love lost between these two players, with Djokovic saying he has no relationship with him. He respects him like other players. Although Djokovic has a history of retirements, especially during his early career, it is safe to say it is why fans are always skeptical about his injuries. Even with injuries, Djokovic still dominates the game due to his determination and ability to read his opponent. Djokovic is a highly intelligent player, knowing how to control the game to suit his tempo. If he decides to make the game fast-paced and physical, it means he has every intention of wearing out his opponent. The Serb has expressed displeasure over the various comments about his injuries. "Only my injuries are questioned. When some other players are injured, they are the victims, but when it's me, I am faking it. It's very interesting, and I don't feel the need to prove anything to anyone." The never-ending spat between tennis stars and the media is a regular occurrence in the tennis world, which is why most tennis players tend to avoid the press. Novak Djokovic is always in a love-hate relationship with the umpires doing his matches. He is not afraid to voice his displeasure with their decisions. This has brought various issues for him from fans, with the player getting booed on the court in the 2023 Australian Open semifinal. His spouts with umpires don't stop there. Let's take you back to the 2020 Australian Open final, where Djokovic got into a heated engagement with the chair umpire, Damian DeMoses. The umpire had given Novak 2 time violations in the second set, and on his way to his seat, he tapped the umpire's foot, saying the second violation was a wrong call. Novak certainly did not share the same opinion as the umpire. "You made yourself famous in this match, especially in the second one. Great job. You made yourself famous," said Novak to the umpire.
"Great job. You made yourself famous."
Novak's temper had reached the boiling point at the game, although he didn't insult the umpire in any way, hence he wasn't given a warning by the umpire. However, he was fined $30,000 for physical abuse, despite Novak describing it as a friendly touch. According to the Grand Slam rulebook, touching the umpire would be considered physical abuse and is subject to a fine of up to $20,000. Hence, players like Novak, who are easily provoked, need to keep their anger in check. Novak's temper has sparked a lot of debate in tennis, as he is a player who is quick to anger. He has been accused of many unacceptable behaviors deemed not worthy of an athlete. A perfect example was when he smashed his racket during a quarterfinal match against Serb. Also, Daniil Medvedev's only Grand Slam victory came against Novak Djokovic in the 2021 US Open, with the Serbian completely destroying his racket after missing an opportunity to level up in points. Hence, you could say he is a pro racket smasher as well as a pro tennis player. His racket smashing exploits are definitely too much to explore, which says a lot about his anger and desire to win. The Serb admitted in an interview that "it will not be the first nor the last racket I'll break in my career. I've done it before, and I'll probably do it again." Novak Djokovic was also disqualified in the US Open for accidentally hitting a judge on the throat with a tennis ball. Although there was no foul intention in it, despite trailing against his opponent, and from his facial expression, you could see that Novak felt sorry about what had happened. The officials deliberated for a while before disqualifying Djokovic from the match and the competition, despite his apologies. The line judge was hurt and had to be taken from the rotation, which further solidified the official stance on his disqualification. Later, the star posted on his socials, "I'm extremely sorry to have caused her such stress. So unintended, so wrong. I'm not disclosing her name to respect her privacy," said Novak. Kudos to the star for owning up to his mistake. You all know the Serbian is part of the 3 greats in tennis, along with Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer. The trio has over 102 career titles shared among themselves over the course of 2 decades, making them the greats of the 20th century. Now at the latter stages of their career, Novak is currently the only player playing with much intensity and determination. Despite being faced with many challenges, like accusations from the media concerning his injury faking and frequent temper tantrums, the Serb still remains dominant in this modern age of tennis.